Did you know that you've been experiencing anxiety since childhood? You probably didn't know this, but according to Karen Horney, she mentions that in childhood, we actually experience what's called basic anxiety. So what does that mean? Well, if someone were to develop, unfortunately, an insecure attachment with a primary caregiver, such as a mother during infancy, maybe mom is very anxious, maybe mom is experiencing postpartum depression, maybe mom works a lot and is just not around. So that strong attachment, that bond, isn't made. And for whatever reason, the insecure attachment is the foundation of where that relationship builds upon throughout the years. So it becomes problematic for the individual, for the child, because now they're going to experience troubles in social situations. They're going to fear what other people think, being judged, all because the relationship with our primary caregivers in the really early stages of development was not very healthy. It was not very conducive to our understanding and promoting our wellness within personal relationships, platonic relationships, romantic relationships. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is that individuals who experience this basic anxiety during the early stages of development start to essentially cope in very unhealthy ways. So Horney refers to this maladaptive coping strategy as a neurotic need. So what does that mean? Let me explain. So essentially, the erotic needs manifest from the basic anxiety. So what happens, individuals who struggle with interpersonal relationships, especially early on, tend to want to savor their relationships. Okay, so from an attachment perspective, we have someone that unfortunately fell victim to an insecure attachment based on just circumstances and maybe the parent and what they've experienced in their personality traits and trauma. So unfortunately, what ends up happening is this map or schema is created in the mind. So now this individual grows up, goes to school, and now they're socializing with other individuals. This person might be so desperate, and you could relate to this. You might have been so desperate during those times to just attach to someone, to just find a friend, to have a best friend. Or maybe you're growing up and you're a little bit older, you're in your later adolescence or early adulthood, and you want a romantic relationship. But now you fear those insecurities. You fear that your romantic partner is going to judge you, is going to be harsh towards you, is going to reprimand you, for the silliest things. So you are activated as a result of your development through childhood and continuing on in adolescence and adulthood. You've developed these neurotic needs to people please, to collect people, to attach to people. You need to people please because if you don't please, then you run the risk of the other person either not liking you and or not being your friend. And as a result, then you're going to be alone with your big feelings, and this is going to unconsciously, again, you're going to experience this in your mind, this is going to feel like it is happening again with mom. It happened in the past with mom. You weren't able to develop that relationship. This is your fantasy. This is what you're saying to yourself unconsciously. This is what majority of people say to themselves in this kind of dynamic and situation. So therefore, you're going to have a difficult time making friends. You're going to have a difficult time establishing a romantic relationship and building that trust. So it's going to be problematic. You're going to feel like you're left alone. Just because you've experienced that in your childhood does not mean that you have to continue to experience this in adulthood or in adolescence. You can do something different. You can start living your authentic life, meaning that it is very possible for you to be yourself, not people please, and whether people accept you or not, the people who accept you, you're going to welcome in your inner circle because they will bring you up. They will make you feel great. You will be supported by them. You will support them. And that's what friends do. And other people who don't like you, don't like us, well, who cares? They can go off and they can do their own thing. Someone who has a secure and stable sense of self despite their history. It requires work, but it is very possible. Someone who is a people pleaser, if that's you, you're exhausted because you're constantly thinking about how to please everybody else around you. But guess what? You're forgetting yourself. You need to remember yourself. To remember yourself, connect with the mind people. The reason why you're connecting with us is because we can help you dive deep into your psyche to explore all these fundamental pieces as to why and what constitutes your people-pleasing behavior. What was the trauma or traumas that you've experienced that you remember, and maybe some are repressed? How can we break through those defenses to help you get to a point where you're able to live life the way that you want? If you want a romantic partner, you want to have a family, you want to have a wonderful life together, to have trust, to have communication, passion, and compassion, then you need to work on yourself. It's not your fault that you've experienced this trauma in your past, but it is your responsibility to seek treatment now. This way, you don't have to repeat the same broken record.